Imagine this. You're standing next to someone you'd love to talk to. Maybe it's a successful entrepreneur, a famous influencer, your crush, or just a stranger in a coffee shop. In your head, you're already rehearsing the conversation, but suddenly you freeze. You don't know what to say, and the moment slips away. Now imagine this never happening again. Imagine being able to start a conversation with anyone, anywhere, and leave a positive impression. Sounds like a superpower. In reality, it's just a skill and anyone can learn it. Today, WeLines explore the most fascinating facts and practical tips that will help you become a true master of conversation. Fact 1. The brain loves talking about itself. A Harvard study revealed that when people talk about their own experiences, the reward system in the brain lights up. In other words, they literally feel pleasure when sharing their thoughts. How to use this? Instead of only talking about yourself, ask open-ended questions. What do you enjoy most about your job? What are you most passionate about right now? The person will feel listened to and will naturally want to continue the conversation. Fact 2. First impressions are instant. Psychologists say it takes just 7 seconds for someone to form a first impression. And it's not only about words, it's your posture, facial expression, and energy. How to use this? Keep your body language open, smile, and you'll immediately seem friendlier. Starting a conversation doesn't require genius lines. Simple comments like, "Wow, the line is long today," or "This place has such a nice vibe, doesn't it?" work perfectly. Fact 3. Listening is an art. 85% of communication success depends on how well you listen. Charismatic people are remembered not for what they say, but for how they make others feel heard. How to use this? Practice active listening. Repeat key words your partner says. Example: if someone says, "I just moved to a new city," you can respond, "Really? Which city did you move to?" Fact 4. Common ground builds trust. Our brains are wired to trust those who share something in common with us, even small details like similar experiences, interests, or emotions. How to use this? If you're both waiting for a bus, you could joke, "Looks like this bus decided to take a day off." If you notice a shared interest like a book, t-shirt design, or accessory, use that as a conversation starter. Fact 5. Stories are more powerful than facts. People remember stories much better than plain data. Research shows that information in story form is remembered 22 times better than raw facts. How to use this? Instead of saying, "I like sports," say, "I started running when my friend challenged me to a marathon, and it completely changed my life." Short, vivid stories with details work best. Fact 6. Nonverbal communication dominates. Up to 70% of all communication comes from body language, tone, and facial expressions, not words. Even the best phrase will lose its effect if spoken without energy. How to use this? Smile and make eye contact. Use hand gestures naturally to add emphasis. Remember, your energy matters more than your words. Fact 7. Silence isn't as scary as it seems. Most people think pauses in conversation are awkward. In reality, silence often creates comfort and trust. It gives space to think, and people don't see it as a failure. How to use this? If you don't know what to say, don't panic. Smile, take a breath, and give the other person time. They'll often continue naturally. Fact 8. Practice equals confidence. Talking with anyone is like training a muscle. The more you practice, the easier it gets. How to use this? Set small goals. Start with a simple hi to a cashier or neighbor. Each small conversation builds your confidence and makes you stronger. Conclusion: conversation isn't magic, it's a skill. People love to talk about themselves. Listening is more powerful than speaking. Stories stick better than plain facts. Your energy, smile, and gestures matter more than words. And most importantly, remember that almost everyone is just as nervous as you are about starting a conversation. If you take the first step, you'll not only create interesting connections, but also stand out from the crowd.